Good evening. It's so good to be with you here tonight. I'm here tonight with Brother Ernie. He's from Food Not Bombs. It's good
My pleasure. My pleasure.
To be with you tonight. Ernie, I've got just a quick verse here. I'm sure that you've heard it several times. It's Matthew 25, verse 34. It says, "Then the king will say to those on his right hand, 'Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.'"
Right.
So this is a very familiar passage. And Ernie, I just could you let me know? Can you tell us tonight about what's going on here at Westminster Presbyterian Church?
So I'm a team administrative leader with Food Not Bombs Roswell. We've been going strong for 3 years, and an ice storm happened here about in January. So what happened is the homeless here have gotten there's numerous amounts more than we've seen, and so our goal was to feed. And I quote that scripture every single time. For when I was hungry, the king says, "The least of these you did unto my brother, you did unto me." And so I got involved with Jocelyn Smith, and she's the team leader for Food Not Bombs Roswell, and she works for 106.5 with Mike Winters. And so for me, it was easy. I was like, let's feed. But then when the ice storm hit this year, we were like, where are we going to house these individuals when the city of Roswell, city council, police, no one wants us to have a warming shelter. No one wants to have a cooling shelter for any homeless or any individuals that can house themselves. But then they want to complain continuously about they're sleeping in front of their buildings, they're throwing trash everywhere, or they're even getting ticketed now for being homeless.
Oh, so what you're saying is, City of Roswell Police Department, they're beginning to drift into the kind of murkier waters of what some call criminalization of the homeless.
And so it's unfortunate that it happens that way. And I have a great team to where we address all these things, but that's not what we were really. That was not our goal and mission. Our goal and mission was to get people fed, first of all.
Yes.
And for me, every time we would cook, we all started cooking out of our homes. And so when Westminster Presbyterian Church, Tom Blake and board members and Sue was the volunteer who we knew through the church, and she would come and volunteer her time. And so she was like, well, let me ask the church. This was the only place that opened their doors to us. They had a warming shelter here at one time with another individual who didn't go so well. Yeah. I don't need to mention his name or nothing like that. I wish no ill will towards them. It is hard enough. We've been going strong since the middle of January, and we're going to stay open till March 15th. And then we will do a reset, see what worked, what didn't work. And there was a lot of things that happened in between that time. But we're here now. And we're feeding.
Well, Ernie, thank God for Presbyterians, right? Because, like you said, sadly, it's no surprise to me, right, that other churches were asked, can you offer your time? Do you have a space? Can you create a space? Can you make a space? And, they just don't want to do it. They fall into the same trap that the city falls into. Many churches, they fall into the same trap as the Roswell Police Department.
Unfortunately, they redlined us. So what they did is they drew a circle around the city of Roswell, and we asked, well, where could we put a warming shelter? And so we asked every spot that was open, or every business that doesn't have any business going, or every school that's abandoned that hasn't been used for years. And we said here, and they marked an X, no. We said here, they said no. We said here, they said no. And then city council had a meeting where their city council members, and this is this baffled me from my mind. Like, the restaurant owners that are around where we serve on Pioneer Plaza, which is downtown Main Street,
Yeah,
one of our main roads, said
Martinez, yeah.
Martinez Capital right there, right across from Magistrate Court, Judge Hudson, and it's city property. And they said, well, the homeless are they're making us look bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And one other person said that wasn't a city council, but a member of our community said that was one of those businesses said, once you feed them, they're like cats that keep coming back. Well,
Yeah.
where else are they supposed to go? Again, that scripture is important. For when I was naked, did you clothe me? For when I was hungry. And I'm like, what? Like, this can't be the city I grew up in, the city I love, the city that
Yeah, exactly. Well, see, I have some questions here. These are kind of like devil's advocate. You've already ran into this mentality. Obviously, I don't have this mentality, but I've labeled some of these questions. We're kind of skipping around here, but disgruntled city worker or out of sight, out of mind citizen, right?
Absolutely.
An out of sight, out of sight, an out of sight, out of mind citizen as well. I don't see the unhoused. So therefore, the problem is gone, right? Like if I can't see homeless people, then something's being done about it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they really care about the unhoused. It's
Right.
a sad, but it's more prevalent than you think, right?
Right.
But and then I have here, the feeding the bears mentality, right?
Yeah.
And people will say, so what do we do with people that have this kind of mindset? This is the kind of mindset that they have. If you quit feeding, and it's always these people, right?
Right.
If you quit feeding these people and giving them everything they want, they disappear or they stop coming around. So what you said is you've already run into that, right? Like
we've run into that. We were made to move from the Pioneer Plaza, and then Judge Hudson, I went into court, and I'm dealing with my own stuff on my own life. I have my own things going on. I was homeless at one time and lived behind a trash can and on cardboard boxes. I know what it feels like. And I remember when people would just walk past me, and it's not that they didn't see me, they just didn't care.
Yeah.
The compassion of the empathy, the apathy was no longer there. And so I keep seeing that daily here on the streets of Roswell. So I was just like, this can't happen. Like, there's no way. And before I even started that, before that even happened, I was like, you know what? I got a vision. I got a vision from God. He's like, build me a cross. He's been asking me for 3 years, build me a cross. For the last 2 years, I said no. And then for this year, on December 31st, 2025, he asked me again. I said, yes, I'm ready. I built a cross. I read the book of Joshua and how he marched around Jericho. Him and his people marched around Jericho for 6 days. And on the seventh day, they marched around 7 times. So I marched around the city of Roswell with my own cross from the Roswell airport all the way to Berrindo Middle School, which is one side of town, north and south, east and west, all the way around. And then I walked it up and down Main Street. And on the last day, we got the call. Westminster Church said, okay, you can have the auditorium as a warming center. And I just, like, a flood of emotions hit me because I didn't know that was going to happen. We were still like, tomorrow's the day when it's supposed to snow.
Yeah.
Literally, we were all like, we were setting up in here as fast as we could. And then I was like, it's here. Like, the day is here already. And so... And God said, you do this for me, and the blessing will come to you. And I dreamed it, and he showed me how to build the cross, what to do. And it sounds crazy. I sound like a crazy lunatic, but I'm okay with that.
No, you actually don't. It's actually, it has, and I don't mean this in a bad way because I don't see the Catholic. It has Catholic overtones. I know you're not Catholic, but it's very interesting how it involves the cross, it involves Jesus, it involves scripture, it involves self-sacrifice, and you did these things, and God spoke to you. God could speak to a person any way that he chooses to, but it's so beautiful that was that could even be likened to your own Via Dolorosa experience. Obviously, we could never carry the weight that Christ carried himself,
obviously.
But at the same time, looking back through hundreds and hundreds of years, people have carried crosses through their cities, through their communities, and God did something powerful, and that's very interesting.
So that's where it started, and then we got and I remember I was halfway up walking Main, so I was by Albertsons on the south side of town, and I got the call. So I'm doing a live feed and showing that I'm carrying the cross because I wanted people to get involved. Start praying with me. The best you can do is pray. And I got it. I just started like the weight off my shoulders was lifted. I was like, we got a place. I did a dance. I did the whole thing. I was like, okay, I'm glad. So then we get here, and I'm like, and mind you, after they banned us from that property, this was months before that. The Judge Hudson was like, I see what you're doing out there, Ernie. He's all, there's things you're gonna deal with the rest of your life, but he's all, it takes a strong man and a strong individual to help anyone else that's going through the same thing that you're going through. I'm a person in recovery. I've dealt with addiction. I've dealt with my own mental illness, and thanks be to God that He heals all afflictions, diseases, depressions, and all that stuff. So as I went through that grappling of the last year, I was like, cool, we're here. Let's do it.
Yeah.
How is this going to happen? We had $79, I think, in our account and on our account for our Cash App that people donate, but we've never lacked in food.
Yeah.
Food has come. And I told Jocelyn, my team leader, I was like, once we start praying, once you get God involved, God's hand reaches far.
Yeah.
And they came in. Last night, I think we fed over 15,000 mouths so far, and we've done up to 150 meals a day. We've got animals 350 shots and like so much has happened so fast and quickly.
Vaccinations.
We got vaccinations. We got people their IDs, their birth certificates, and that's not what we do.
Yeah.
Foods Not Bombed is a food rescue. We are a food rescue operation under Hagerman Forward, and we're a nonprofit organization. We're a project under them. So I was like, how's this going to work, God? And God's like, I already have you in my house. Let me do the finishing touches.
Yeah.
Let me polish you up some more. Let me prune you some more. Let's get you ready. And I was like, okay. And I came and I was like, I'll do this. I want to do this so bad. This is what I've been wanting to do my whole life. I feel like I can now see why the 10 million steps are necessary to get to here, because my other team members have jobs and other things out there, and I've been applying for jobs for like 2 years, I think almost 2 years now, getting nowhere. And I have degrees.
Yeah, you're very intelligent. Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way that I can't get a job. And God's like, and here it was. Boom, God said, here you go.
Well, this is obviously what you're supposed to be doing.
This is what
so Ernie, sadly, I'm just fresh. Me and my wife and my family, we're just fresh off of the Albuquerque unhoused circuit, the fentanyl epidemic. You know that I worked and labored there for 3 years. And, sadly, in that area, I've seen a lot of filthy, repulsive, disgusting kitchens that prepare food for the unhoused. So I know that this is a question for you that a lot of people might want to know, like, how clean is the kitchen here? In other words, Ernie, are you running a tight ship?
Yes, we're running a tight ship. We got all the cleaning products. We actually came in from the last people that used this as a warming center for 7 days. They didn't leave on good terms and situate. They didn't leave the place better than when they got here. Yes. So I brought in my team, my friends, my family, and we all cleaned it all up. And the kitchen was ready. It's a beautiful kitchen. We cook in there every single day, 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and everything. And we cleaned out every cabinet. We used every sanitary thing that you're supposed to use. We are used good. But mind you, we are still covered by the Good Samaritan Act. And if you don't know what the Good Samaritan Act...
Well, tell us.
So the Good Samaritan Act covers you so when you're serving food out into the community, because we usually serve out on the courthouse lawn, magistrate courthouse lawn, and people are like, why aren't you serving with gloves? I was all, Good Samaritan Act. We're taking the food that could potentially be thrown out and helping feed the homeless and get it out as quickly as possible. Not necessarily are gloves needed for that, because it's fresh food that's made already.
Yeah. So you don't have to deal with the health department, and it's got to be a certain, because I've seen the kitchen. I know it's clean, but a lot of people, they're gonna wonder if it's, if it's clean,
sanitary, Clorox, bacteria,
and what about the, like the quote bunkhouse, like there's. I know that, there's no bugs, there's no rodents, there's nothing like that. I know you keep it
This church was maintained pristinely from
Good.
when I walked in.
good.
It was maintained pristinely. This church used to be a buzz hub. There was like 2,000 members at one point. It's died out. There's a small congregation of 25. And bless those 25 that have welcomed us in.
Yeah,
And they supported us. And we invited them. We had to come up with a contract really quickly with them to say, this is what we'll cover. This is what we do. We'll have to get insurance. And I got to meet each one of the board members, and we had meetings just right here at this table, just like
Okay.
we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let me do the talking. I'll do the talking. We'll get it done. But I already had Sue, and we had to come up with like $3,000 really quickly. And they're like, okay, it's a go. We started out with eight cots. 8 cots.
And now you're growing even more.
We haven't stopped bringing people in. At the most, one day there were 62 people. 10, 11, 12 dogs, 2 cats, and it has been a journey.
Well, Ernie, I applaud you and I commend you because it's a pet friendly shelter. Because in Albuquerque, the only pet friendly shelter that I knew of was Pastor Joanne Landry. She would allow dogs, and a lot of people, like this is a question I should have had with disgruntled city worker or out of sight, out of mind citizen. Be like, why, if all it takes for you to be inside at night is that dog, then I would just get rid of the dog. But people don't understand that, like, that dog is the only friend that an unhoused person has. And so it's not just as easy, a sadistic thing. I'm just going to get rid of my dog and look out for myself. But I'm sure you have a lot of challenges at the same time bringing in pets. So is there a certain amount of pets you could bring?
So we never decided on a certain amount of pets, but the most that we housed was the amount I gave you. But we do have an area for them to go out in too. They also, Humane Society donated kennels, and also another member of the church came and donated cages. Melanie donated cages for us, for the cats, for the dogs, and the community came out in droves with shampoos, washes, deworming, paws and claws, I think what it was, wagon wheels. Will's wagon. I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Yeah, it's fine.
And they came out and they gave shots. They gave deworming. They gave. Who? It doesn't. It baffled me.
But isn't
easy? It was easy.
Isn't it sad at some point though? Isn't it kind of? I know this is a positive program. We're trying to instill hope and everything, but it's amazing how people will come out for animals and they'll like jump off the cliff. They'll break their back, metaphorically speaking, for an animal. But when it comes to a person who's laying on the sidewalk, who may be drunk, who may be inebriated, who may be have sores or whatever, all of a sudden, like, I can't get involved in that. But they can help an animal that they don't even know. But when it comes to humanity, when it comes to a person who's made in the image of God, why is it so many times that you have the disgruntled city worker or you have the out of sight, out of mind Christian, like they will go to hell and back for a cat or a dog. But when it comes to an individual, I simply can't do it. And they're like, Pilate, I washed my hands of this and I don't want anything to do with that. Like, how are we going to bridge that gap? Because that, unfortunately, sadly, that's a stigma in and of itself. But like, you see it, I've seen it, and it's a perennial error. Like, we constantly see that because, so I guess it takes the love of God to actually see the potential in people. I've never been able to figure that out.
Well, here's where I believe it's figured out. You've got to show them again. For some reason, we're repeating things that have already been done in the past that were easily done and accomplished, but we put all these people in high places and political power, and it says it, respect those people, give them your respect and up there, and the evildoers at the top, and let God have his revenge. And they just can't come together like-mindedly because there's money involved.
Yeah.
That's where it is. Either you're going to serve God or you're going to serve money. And I'm a man who fears God, and I'm going to serve God.
Yeah.
I served money at one time, and it afforded me nothing.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Nothing.
and money, money is
Money's good
is-
for the right reasons,
Yeah.
obviously. And like I understand where the disgruntled citizen comes in from. Well, I work hard for my money and I worked hard for this. But man, when I was 5 years old, I didn't draw a picture of me as an addict or a person who lived on the streets.
Yeah.
That's what no kid drew.
Because that's what people say. That's what disgruntled city worker says. That's what out of sight, out of mind citizen says. He says,
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of cleaning up after these people who don't care.
Yeah.
Right? So how do we, because, okay, I know that's a stigma. I know that's a stereotype, but in some ways that's like a valid criticism. It's a very harsh criticism. Like I don't feel that way, but there's a lot of people that do feel that way. I'm sick and tired of cleaning up after people that don't care. So does it take the love of God, Ernie, to be able to look beyond a trope and a cliche, or is it just easier to fall into the trap of, well, I'll just have this kind of negative attitude towards homeless or unhoused or displaced?
Here's what it is. All it takes is being obedient to God.
Okay.
That's
yeah.
as simple as it really is. Because even God loves those disgruntled people at their darkest.
That's true.
When they're being
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
And without love, God doesn't know you. So if you're not giving love, then God will not look at you either, and he will cast you out also. So we continue to pray for those, because honestly, there's tons of money that's coming. There's tons of food and products and blankets and pillows and cots and all these things, IDs, birth certificates, thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think we're at the $100,000 mark of what it's taken for 2 months.
Yes.
And we have had no money,
yeah.
no help, but the citizens of Roswell. And they're tired. The city of Roswell is
it
tired of
runs
seeing
out.
it.
Yeah.
No, they're not tired of giving their hard-earned money. That's not the problem. The problem is that they're tired of the people they put into high places to handle this issue, where there was $825,000 given to New Mexico for warming shelters, and where did it go?
Why don't you've invited people
We
in high
invited-
places to come down to tour it, to see it? Why don't they come?
I have no idea. We had a meeting with them. We had a meeting with the
Yeah,
city.
okay, but
We
as a-
showed them. We gave them a
but
whole deal.
I mean, I'm on your side, but as a politician, like, don't you think that to be a good politician, that you would be like, well, this is my job, this is my responsibility. I should at least go see it. I should at least go try to understand what's going on here. If I want to be voted, if I want to be brought in, if I want to keep my job, like you would think that, because I'm not a fan of politicians. I'm an old punk rocker. I'm a Christian now, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like I really struggle with politicians. But like you would think that one of them could have come down, shown an interest in what's going on here, because it does affect their community, it does affect their jobs, and it does affect the city of Roswell. Like, why don't they come?
They don't come because they don't have an intimate relationship with God. Honestly, let's just call it that. Like the world.
But some of them will say that they do, and some of them go to church, and some of them pay their tithes, and some of them sit there and smile, and some of them put the halo on Sunday morning, and then they take it off. And some of them will say that they go under the guise of faith, but like yet it saddens me that none of them have come.
Not one.
And that's why we have these conversations.
We invited all of them. We told them, hey, we had a meeting with them. We discussed what was happening. We thank you to Geneva Martinez for getting that meeting started. And
well, at least she
haggled them into getting together. She knows politics and policies, but not one.
Yeah.
Not one. And I'm like, okay, so we've been fighting this fight for 5 years now here in Roswell. And I was like, I'm sitting there in the meeting. I'm like, so what you're telling me by not showing up and by not offering any solution, that you're going to let it lay in our hands continuously by ourselves? Cool. We don't want your money.
Yeah.
Because once I take your money, I'm bound by your policies and your politics and your procedures, and that has not worked. We still have homeless on the street. We still have people coming out of jails with mental illness and addictions, even though they're minded to drug courts and all these programs that are doing nothing for them. It's a revolving door. It is broken. The system is broken.
Yeah.
The people are broken. But the people who do want to help, who do have God, are like, hey, they're the real deal. I've heard this plenty of times. They're all Food Not Bombs. Roswell's the real deal. They're really doing it. They're really helping people. I don't know how many people have shook my hand and been like, I didn't know what y'all were, what you're doing, how y'all are helping people. They've come down and they've toured.
Yeah,
They've met the client.
and that's why when I moved here, when I moved back here, somebody told me, "Have you heard about Food Not Bombs?" I believe it was a parishioner here at the Presbyterian Church, and I said no, and so I saw the vans.
Yeah.
I saw the vans, and so I said, well, these are people that I want to get involved with, because like they're actually doing it. It isn't just something that
It's not some robotic technique that we're doing. We're following these procedures
Yeah.
and laws. And we had to come up with rules and regulations. Obviously, that's how you run
Yeah.
a business. We're an LLC. We're a nonprofit. And we want to remain that way, because once we start to let the government get involved in a certain way, and I don't mind you donating your money on your own time anonymously, but you know what? So far, you've shown me that you want no involvement with us. So God be with you, and I remove my peace from you, and I'll continue to pray for you, and I'll continue to do what God wants me to do here.
Now, Ernie, I know that this important shelter sits in the middle of an affluent upper-class neighborhood, in Enchanted Hills. Enchanted Hills is arguably one of the nicest parks in the city of Roswell. Do you anticipate, or have you already received pushback from the community that surrounds the shelter, as it's becoming more stationary? Because this is kind of the jewel of the Parks and Rec department. Like, this is the best park. I think it's the best park.
So the Spring River Pecos Trail is right across the street from the Westminster Presbyterian Church and the auditorium.
And that's a big tourist thing.
I thought it out already. Like, God's like, get your trash bags and go clean up from there to Sycamore.
Okay.
And I took 5 guys out there and we went and did it. And the very next day we had an anonymous call, that said, our clients here were leaving needles and stuff all out in the park, and their kids couldn't go and play and stuff like that. And I was like, no, they didn't. We just picked up everything in the trash. You're welcome, City of Roswell.
Yeah.
Keep you beautiful.
Well, people will lie, right? Because
of course,
because this is the out of sight, out of mind citizen.
Yeah.
If these politicians, if these preachers, if these ministries, if these churches, if they want to open shelters, drop-in centers, etc., then let them open them in their own neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Right.
what everybody says, right? If you want to do all this stuff, dealing with, trying to deal with people who are unhoused and nonconformists, however you want to put it, because all those things are people with mental health conditions, all those things, they kind of swirl in and out of each other.
Right.
But everybody says, the out of sight, out of mind, the person that says, there's needles out here, my kids, and you know good and well that there weren't.
Yeah.
So people will lie because they don't want a shelter, they don't want a methadone clinic, they don't want a needle exchange. They don't even want the needle exchange to come with a trailer and to give out Narcan, naloxone, needles. But people will lie simply in an effort to keep these, quote, metaphorical lighthouses away from where they live.
Right. And the cool thing about it, and I will say this, Judge Hudson was like, you can continue serving on my courthouse lawn. That's pretty dang big in my book. I'm like, we're going to do it. So we served out there, and people were starting to say we were serving on the courthouse lawn. Oh, the homeless just leave a mess out there. Not one time. I have videos of every single video we've ever did. I go live all the time, and I'm like, we don't leave this place a mess. Now, what these individuals do, we tell them, throw your trash away. We even pick up their trash for them. But you have to rewire people's minds. They are stuck in a panic mode continuously, who are coming off the streets. They don't know where they're sleeping.
Yeah, well,
they don't know if they're getting food.
and
they don't know nothing. Now, the people that live behind here,
because
they're literally 25 feet away from us. And yes, there are people that go outside and scream and lose their head for a minute and all this crazy stuff. And there are rules and regulations where we do behavior modifications. Now, I have my degrees in these certain things and all that. I'm not saying I'm the best, but you know what? I'm here because God has me here, not because I really chose to be here, but at some point I had to step up in authority and be like, I'll do this because I've been doing this my entire life already. I've been feeding my family like this my entire life because the system has been pushed upon them so brokenly. We grew up in foster care and drugs and all that stuff. And so I learned, I sat back, I watched, I'm an observer, I'm a visual learner. I saw what worked, what didn't. I saw for the last 2 years what worked, what didn't work with the Hope Center and Waymaker and that whole thing falling apart. What didn't work with Enrique and his whole disaster stuff. And I'm just like, you know what? I was all, it doesn't matter what happened. I learned. Let's put it down on paper. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
And I have 5 individuals, Jocelyn Smith, Angela Montoya, Sonia Bolaños, Geneva Martinez, and myself, and Sue. And they're my core team. And those core team, they all fit the puzzle of all the pieces of the puzzle that I need with God to make this work.
Yeah, and that's what people have to understand. It's like people are trying to meet the need. People are trying to have an impact. It's like if you can't do any better than them, then leave those people alone, right? It's like let people do what they've got to do. So, Ernie, I realize that for the most part, if not always, I realize that you and your team, you've had tremendous support. But how do we keep shelters, cooling centers, warming centers from becoming what cynics would call a glorified flop house? Like how do we keep the warming center where you're continuing to help people work through the process to become to reintegrate to experience a new formation so that they can be productive members of society? So how do we keep this going so it doesn't become a glorified flop house? Because the cynic, right?
Yeah.
Like the cynic, the cold-hearted bastard, the disgruntled guy, disgruntled Joby nobody, out of sight, out of mind, right? Like that guy is going to be like, yeah, those people are just in there. They're just laying up. They ain't doing nothing. They're just stinking up the joint, and it's my tax dollars that are paying for this stuff. So like, how do we keep the wheel moving so that shelters don't become a glorified flop house?
We do this by leaning on Christ, honestly.
Uh-huh.
There's no other way around it. And I've told it to my own team. I was all, the moment you guys think that God is not in control of this is the moment we will lose this. I was all, because people want to be part of something. And let's just call Roswell Ford or what it was. It's a retirement town. It's
it's Mayberry.
it's like,
It's like a TV show.
yeah, and so it's a little
like
bit
Blue
laid
Velvet,
back.
but there's a sense where it's like Blue Velvet. Too.
Yeah.
Remember David
Oh,
Lynch's
yeah,
portrayal
yeah.
of Blue Velvet? Like,
Okay.
like on the surface, it looks like, American flags and apple pie and all that crap. But remember Blue Velvet, like underneath there was an underbelly, and there was drugs, and there was darkness, and there was evil, and so like that's here too. But I see what you're saying though. It is like an Ozzie and Harriet.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a postcard picture.
Right.
Of what a rural
That baby
town
boomer
is.
generation is about to, let's just call it for what it is. Their time is up.
Oh yeah.
That time is way up. And now you've got to let us show you our IDs. This is a one-stop shop. Food Not Bombs has become a one-stop shop. And we want to continue doing this. You've got to have monies. You've got to have monetary value coming in. And so we reach out to the community and say, hey, this is what we've done with the items you donated. Let me show you what we're doing. Let me show you that it's a success. Now, are there going to be 100% successes? Of course not. That's with anything.
Yeah.
But let me give you 50% success, and you won't see the homeless on the street. Let me show you that they do dress nice, they do take showers, they do have their IDs, and they don't want to be on the streets. And they don't want to be judged and looked at, just like you've been doing this entire time.
Because
But we've got to rewire the mind. We've got to keep talking about it. You can't stop talking about it. If you stop talking about it and be like, oh, good for Food Not Bombs, doing this little bit of time.
Then you just fall back into default mode.
We'll just be in that broken circle that was all over with the court systems, going back into court, going to drug rehab, this and that, and it's not working. That is not working.
Well, these are the stigmas, right? Homelessness is a choice. People that are homeless, they're lazy, they're unwilling to work. All homeless people are addicted to drugs and alcohol. All homeless people have mental health issues. All homeless people are criminals. They're dangerous. All homeless people, they don't really want help. The help is wasted. This is an interesting one. I hear this one all the time. This is something that's true. 70 to 80% of homeless people are actually from the local area. I've heard so many people say, well, all these homeless people, they're coming from Los Lunas, they're coming from Albuquerque, they're giving plain. And I tell people, I I said, okay, let's say that we are in this stigma. And there are people who are unhoused. They're addicted to drugs. They're addicted to alcohol. You mean to tell me that if I have a fentanyl habit, if I have a methamphetamine habit, you mean to tell me that I'm going to get on a bus, come here for 3 hours, leave the war zone where I can get drugs on every corner, every no. Why would I want to be a dope fiend and live here when I could live in Las Cruces? I want to be where the action is. I want to be where the fish are biting. Why in the world would I want to be in Roswell?
You wouldn't, because the drug is not like how it used to be, or readily available as a recovering drug addict from Roswell, that it lives in Roswell. It's not like that. What it is like is that people, we've been successful already.
Yeah.
We've already placed one woman in her own trailer. We've already helped another 4 individuals get into a 4-bedroom house. We've already had another man get two jobs. We've already had successful application. We had workforce come in. We had them job applications, resumes done. But these are all things that when you're in the city of Roswell and we don't have a bus system and you have to have a car to get to everywhere, because one thing's on one side of town, the other thing's on the other side of town, you lose the capacity of their mind ability to keep on going, because you have to rewire the brains. Not all of them are even on drugs. So 2 of them, their houses burned down.
Yeah.
And they were in their trailers cleaning up their house because they didn't have the money to clean up the wreckage of the fire. So the city arrested them for being homeless.
Yeah.
And so now we got them in contact with lawyers, and now they're going against the system. And they're like, thank you.
Yeah.
We just wanted to be...
Because you know this, but there's so many levels to unhoused or homeless.
Right.
There's so many levels to it. It isn't just acute. There are acute. There are people, I've interviewed people on my channel. I interviewed a guy that got out. He got out. He got a voucher. He got a caseworker. He started to get better. But I remember like the first week in his house, like he had to sleep outside on the porch because he was so used to noises and this is Albuquerque. He's used to sirens and fire trucks and guns and screaming and yelling and like he could not function for a while. Like he had to readjust because he all he could handle was chaos and he couldn't handle it quiet, and he eventually got where he could sleep inside.
Right.
But like people don't understand that. And I'm glad we're talking about it, because you're right. The minute you stop talking about it, you go right back into the default mode. And Christians go right back into default mode, even the best of them, right?
Well, and God is not a God of chaos. God is a God of order. So it has to happen in order the way it was. It had to all fall apart. It all had to be broken down. And it had to, because we had to build from the ground up. And we literally did it from the ground up. Yeah. We built on the cornerstone that was rejected. The people. Jesus didn't leave the 99 to find the 99. He left the 99 to find the one. And these are them.
Yeah.
These are them. These are the real deal. These are who Jesus was corralling with, eating with, and living with on when he was alive before he was crucified. And so I'm like, if you don't see it now, you're never gonna see it.
But to play the devil's advocate, the disgruntled guy is going to be like, well, if you say that all of this was worth it for the one, what about the other 4 or 5 people that died or were mangled through the meat grinder in the process? Because like that's how people think. So how do we answer that?
For the people that unfortunately have passed and gone through the system and like that, I never got an apology until I was 33 years old from the justice system, as I went through the system of courts and stuff like that. And it wasn't until I had a federal pre-probation officer who said, I'm so sorry we failed you.
Yeah.
I was 33 years old. Do you know that one apology healed up all those wounds?
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
And I was like, thank you for apologizing. Like, that's all I wanted. That's all I ever wanted, was somebody to say, I apologize. Because you did fail me as a kid. You did let me go into a home where stuff happened to me. And you did let me fall through the cracks of the system. And now you want to be mad at me for going in and out of jail, having a drug problem, and all this stuff, when you let all this happen.
Yeah.
You are the powers that be. Now, mind you, not would I trade all of it? No. Because then I wouldn't be the awesome guy that I am.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the man of God that I am today. I could not be able to feel emotions, see the problem coming, and I have like 10 different solutions when something comes up. And my team is the same way. We're like, okay, let's handle this. Like, okay, so there's a guy screaming in the park. How do we handle that? Let's walk over and talk to him.
Yeah.
How do we handle it? We've had
passive resistance.
We've had one complaint from somebody, the neighbors.
Yeah.
We called and we talked to her. We're like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, it's a great thing you're doing. It's a great thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
She's like, I
Thank
just didn't
God
know
for
what
that.
was going
Yeah.
on. People thought we were having a car wash the day we had pets being neutered and spayed. I mean, I'm getting shots and stuff. They're like, why are y'all having a car wash there? We're not. But let me tell you what's really going on. You can get on Food Not Bombs Roswell. It's on Facebook, and you can see what's going on in our live feeds and stuff like that. Again, an evangelist told me once, it's none of your business what people say about you. Let your character do the talking. If your character matches up to your words, you have nothing to worry about, and God will do the rest.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like something an evangelist would say. You know, you got to watch those evangelists sometimes, Ernie. They're slick talkers.
Well, you know,
I'm an evangelist, but you got to watch those guys sometimes.
You know what? They give some of the best advice I've ever heard in my life, actually.
Well, Ernie, let's talk about personal things just real quick, just in a generalized context.
Right.
So, you know our story, Albuquerque,
right?
505, all that kind of stuff. Ernie, I've experienced burnout in my efforts to help the unhoused in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You know, as I worked at God's Warehouse. I worked for, the Pope of the International District, Chuck Aragon, okay? I was singing on street corners in the International District. Me and my family, we lived in an apartment right at the very start of the meat grinder or the war zone. Ernie, I saw a man who was a minister. He was eating himself to death because he wasn't dealing with all of the things that he was seeing. He wasn't maybe technically giving it to God the way that he should. I've seen ministers overlook filthy living conditions for those that they're trying to house or help, and even for themselves. I've witnessed many walk away from the call of God. I've seen marriages destroyed, relationships destroyed, family ties severed as a result of burnout. So the question is, how are you dealing with burnout, and how are you attempting to guard yourself from becoming frustrated, bitter, and even resentful towards those who you're trying to reach? Because, Ernie, it always starts good.
Yeah.
It always starts good, right? You've seen Party Monster, right? Remember Party Monster, right? Michael Alec, and he's like, let me tell you how it started, because it ended really badly. So let's go back to when it started, when things were good and things were beautiful. But how are you trying to deal, and if how are you going to deal with burnout? That way you don't become frustrated, you don't become bitter, and you don't become resentful towards the people you're helping, or towards the Roswell Police Department, or towards the city of Roswell, or the politicians. It's something that you're gonna, and I know the cliche answer is that you're gonna have to give it to God and all those things, but but it's a very real thing, because I've seen it tear people to pieces.
Absolutely. So compassion fatigue, that's what it's called. It's called compassion fatigue. I fought the good fight with the LGBT for 10 years, and then I stepped away for 5 years because I was like, I need a break. Because hearing the sad stories of them having to deal with what they deal with, suicide and high rates, and so like for here, I've just been being prepared my entire life. And we didn't start out on good terms. We were like, what are we going to do about feeding people? How do we even get food? That was our whole thing. We started at the bottom. We started at the bottom of the barrel, and we're like, I remember watching my team members serving on the streets, and I was like, why are we out here serving 9 people? Why aren't there more people out here? And they're like, we've already tried that. We've been doing it for 5 years and nobody has made it out here. And I was like, well, then you need to be louder.
Or it's like maybe, or it's like maybe you're meaner than rot and they don't want to come.
And maybe it's maybe it's the wrong people. So I watched the people come in and out, and we were a group of 4, and now it's me and Jocelyn as the team administrative leaders.
Because people can tell if you're. I saw it in Albuquerque. I've seen it in Roswell. I've seen people on these volunteer teams, and it's like, what are you doing out here? It's like, you obviously don't like homeless people. Do you want to be a policeman? Do you want to just are you a sadist? Do you just enjoy watching people? Why are you here?
The police
You've seen, right? You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. The police are there for good and valid reasons. Let me tell you, Officer Flores that came in and explained to me very well when we're trying to remove somebody off the property, because we have to have
Yeah,
procedures
it's
and
a
procedures.
part of the job.
It's
right?
part of the
Yeah.
job, and it's not because I wanted them to be removed, but it's because they broke the boundaries, the policies, and the procedures that we set down. Not only did we set those down, the church also has rules for us to follow, and I want to be most respectful to them. And first of all, they serve God, we serve under them, then we're Food Not Bombs, and then they can put me as a team lead.
Yeah.
So I was raised by 17 women.
Yeah, okay.
So
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So there's a lot of emotions going on, and how to take them on, and how to like, they have solutions emotionally that I didn't necessarily have. There was no man figure in my life. But when I got the right man figure in my life, it was always someone of God.
Yeah.
I have a great team outside of my team where I talk to a therapist, where I see a
Good.
counselor, where
Yeah.
I do have a team. I don't just do Food Not Bombs all the time.
Yeah.
I go out and do fun stuff.
I see. I'm
We
in
paint.
therapy. I'm in therapy.
It works for me.
I don't tell church people nothing. Nothing. I trust that with a professional. That understands.
I should be getting paid now.
I don't
'cause-
say anything. No, I don't tell bishops or pastors. I don't tell them anything about my personal life because
They will use that as weapons against you.
I'm going to go to a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in Denso, like that's
won't
how
do it.
I don't. I know I was born to do this job. I never knew what my purpose was until I stepped into this church.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this church existed.
Yeah.
I've never been in this church. I've lived in Roswell my entire life. I know every back road, alley, and every single part of this town, where you can get drugs, where the good parts are. And yes, we are in Enchanted Hills, and it's beautiful, and we will maintain keeping it beautiful
That's
while we're
great.
in this area.
That's great.
And those individuals, those free-spirited individuals, we don't have to keep calling them homeless. Just like you don't go into a court and tell the judge, no, I'm an addict. No, I'm a person in recovery. It's your verbiage that comes out your mouth that's going to change it too. It's
Right,
also
right.
like, you've got to learn to take corrective action when you're being corrected. If you can't, then you probably shouldn't be in the business of outreach.
Yeah.
Just move along and let us continue.
Yeah. Well, in conclusion tonight, Ernie, for somebody who wants to get involved, whether it be financially, whether it be spiritually, whether it be materially with blankets, clothes, anything like that, this is your golden opportunity to tell people how they can give and how they can support.
Okay, so we're Food Not Bombs Roswell. We're a food rescue operation. We're a project under Hagerman Forward. We rescue potential food within our community that is being thrown out from businesses, and we feed the homeless and those who can't feed themselves. We have a warming shelter now here at Westminster Presbyterian Church, 2801 West 4th Street. We also have a Food Not Bombs Roswell Facebook, and we're always on there. There's a feature that you can go on there. You can click on it, and it will take you to the link givebutter.com/FNB, and there you can donate monies. And there's also a 501c3. You can also give in donations in money. You can come down. You can call us. We'll pick up the food. Thank you to Mountain View Middle School. Mrs. Flores, Miss Jackie and her husband, they come and they donate all the time. People bring stuff all the time. Let us go get it. Let us help you. Unpack your house. Like let's there's so much things that you can be doing. It's not just that. People are like, I don't have the car, I don't have this. I was like, then pray from us from afar.
Yeah.
That's
good.
the best medicine of the day. But all those things you can all hit on our Facebook. And if you need to contact us, our number is 575-246-1446. We are a real business. You can leave us a voicemail. We'll get back to you. Right now, I'm running a warming shelter. I work 21 hours a day, and I hope to do this for the rest of my life. I hope we get the monies that are needed to maintain this all year round, and we turn this into a cooling center and to a help center to help not just the homeless, but the people in our city who really need the help, who just can't get from first base to second base. If we can get them to second base, then we can definitely get them to third base and home. And that's the goal.
Amen. God
That's
bless
it.
you.
God bless you.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
for
much,
your
sister.
time and get
Oh, look,
involved.
these are our shirts. Food Not Bombs Roswell.
Get involved.